Hi everyone, this is Jana Pahosky, the founder of the Accountable Mindset. Hope you're all doing well. We're here today to talk about mindset and how to get obstacles out of your way. And the reason why I want to talk about it, because there's a very famous saying by Henry Ford. And what he said is that whether you believe it that you can do it or whether you believe you cannot do it, both are true. And this is something that really highlights how important mindset is in us achieving our goals and what we're able to do and achieve. So there is a number of obstacles, I call them, in the way, recurrent challenges people face that repeat themselves over and over again, and are the most likely ones to stop someone in their tracks, stop someone from actually doing something, progressing with towards the goal or towards the vision. Hi, everyone. Thanks very much for joining. And if you have any questions, please just pop them into comments while I speak. So there are a lot of reasons why people don't take action, and this could mean that they procrastinate. This could mean that that they actually do something different from what they should be doing, and one of the reasons is that our brain during the day processes billions of signals, and of course, consciously we're not able to absorb all of them. So what our brain does is to deal with that huge amount of information is it effectively filters the information that it believes is most relevant to us. And very often it's actually related to the very primal instincts and effectively trying to help us to survive. And it has been like this for millions of years. So those primal instincts have helped us as humanity to get to this place. However, they are quite basic and really related back to a situation where very often it was much less safe than it is today, and the fight, flight, or freeze instinct that was kicking in was much more important to actually getting through the day in one piece than it is today. So the level of risk in daily life in the Western world certainly has really been reduced. And yet our primal instincts are still very strong and are still kicking in. So what does this mean? That actually what used to save us and protect us these days is holding us back through the primal instincts kicking in certain situations. So what are the most common situations? What do we feel? What are the obstacles that we face and that we actually have to confront or can confront during the day? So first of all, there is fear. Very often when we want to try something new or think about starting a new venture, the fear kicks in, and the fear can be something that stops us in our tracks. And this is something that is very often the fear of the unknown. When we do something new, we haven't experienced what it's going to be like, what's likely to happen, what risks we might have to face. And what we then start thinking is, what if it goes wrong? What if it doesn't work? What if I don't succeed? This means very often that we then stop and procrastinate or do something safe, and just focus on what we know and don't start anything new at all. So one of the best options to really take away this fear of the unknown is to think not emotionally but practically about all the different outcomes from the action that we're thinking about taking, from the change that we're thinking about making in our lives, and think the whole spectrum of what is the best outcome of doing that particular action, introducing that change, to the absolutely worst outcome that could happen. Because very often we fear something that actually, where we haven't actually thought through what the worst possible scenario would be. And putting meat on the bone, so to speak, of a situation, what we actually fear but cannot necessarily verbalize, starting to do that and think through realistically what the worst thing that could happen is, very often already starts to take away that fear, because first of all, we're making something previously intangible, that was an emotion, very tangible, practical, thinking about what would practically happen. And in many situations, actually turns out that the worst case scenario is nowhere near as dangerous or uncomfortable as we thought it might be before we really thought about the practical terms, what the situation, what the situation would be like, or the action, what the action would cause. So the second reason why I recommend that people do this is because once you have looked at all the possible scenarios from the best to the worst outcome, where the fear might be coming from, you also get the power to start thinking about how to manage any of these risks that potentially are linked to that outcome. And this is something that can give you a lot of power and remove a lot of the fear, because normally the more we feel in control, the less fearful we are. So this is really looking at all the possible risks and then planning for them, giving ourselves the control that is most likely to remove a lot of the fear we might have felt before, or to start with. And a great example for how we can remain persistent and continue without knowing when this positive outcome is going to happen without being fearful on the way is actually Edison. And what he did is very often, so while he was alive and actually working on the light bulb, he was asked recurrently about his failure. And he had actually a great response to that. So what he used to say is that 1,000 times I didn't get the light bulb right, I did not fail. I just found 1,000 ways that will not work. And this is really important to look at failure as well as part of the process. So very often we fear failure, and that's part of what's driving the fear and stopping us from doing something new and something different, is that we fear the failure. And being mindful that actually it's not going to be failure, it's going to be learning another way of how something doesn't work, is really going to help with the mindset and help overcome some of the challenges that we feel could happen on the way to success. What tends to help a lot with fear as well is look for role models. So people who have succeeded, companies who have succeeded in what we want to achieve. So effectively who are on the way or in the area of where our aspiration and our mission vision for what we want to do lies. And looking at how they have achieved it, which ways of not working for the business or for the ambition they have tried and overcome, and how they've reached their success, what made them successful. This is something that can really help as well to remove fear and really show a great path to success and how to achieve it as well, based on what someone else has already tried and done and been successful at. So that's something additional I recommend as well. So effectively scenario planning, so looking at all the different outcomes, planning how to reduce the possibilities of something going wrong as much possible, so mitigating risk. Also not being afraid, not of failure, but finding all the ways how something is not going to work. And then finally, the last point is also networking and education. Very often, fear stems from a gap or a void we have, where we don't have answers, we don't know we don't have the information to really fill that gap. And finding that information data through education, also talking to people who have been either successful or have had challenges and have overcome them, is going to consistently fill that gap, that void of knowledge that can really help to overcome the challenge of fear on our way to actually achieving a great result and starting on a new journey. So that's fear. This is something that very often is an obstacle to starting something new and really trying something we haven't done before. The second obstacle I want to talk about is procrastination. And very often people mention procrastination as not doing anything. But in actual fact, procrastination is doing something, just not what we should be doing at that point in time. So to give you an example, if you are planning to get fit and you want to go for a run, maybe twice a week, procrastination might be looking out of the window, seeing the dark, the rain, and deciding to watch TV instead. So it's not that you're doing anything, you just choose to do something that's not what you are planning to do, that's not helping you to achieve your goal. So remembering this is really important, because it's again the primal brain that kicks in, and very often the primal brain, trying to keep us safe and helping to process all the information, all the signals, billions of signals every day, really reverts to what we know, where we're going to expend least energy and effort on. And this is something that we've been doing before that doesn't cost as much energy or effort as the alternative, doing something new, in this case, going for a run. So again, being mindful that the brain is behind it very often, and just wants to keep us safe and straight on the line that we're traveling through our life. So it's really important to consider that with procrastination, it's not about not doing anything, but really choosing the right thing to do in relation to the goal. The next third obstacle why people don't start or continue on a journey of change and implement actions they need to achieve a goal is laziness. And laziness is very interesting because, people again think that it just happens. But actually, there is a real motivator behind laziness. And this is where our need for instant gratification kicks in and overtakes the longer term reward and goal. So again, in the example I said before, in terms of getting fit, the short-term gratification would be eating a bar of chocolate or maybe ice cream or a really unhealthy meal, as opposed to, for the longer-term health benefit and fitness benefit, eating a meal that's really well balanced. Maybe we had to cook ourselves, so there was the extra effort of cooking, as opposed to just pulling something out of the drawer, maybe of a cabinet, or ordering something in. So laziness very often is based, again, on the comparison the brain does of seeking the short-term gratification and not really looking for the longer-term rewards. And very often the reason why this happens is because the vision we've set for ourselves, the longer-term vision, is not inspirational enough, it's not strong enough, or maybe the goals are not clear, smart enough, and we actually don't really appreciate what the reward at the end is going to be. And maybe there are also shorter-term rewards we haven't set either. So the laziness is something that happens to everyone. It's really understanding where it comes from and how to counter it that really helps recurrently to overcome it. So this was the third obstacle and reason why people recurrently don't start or continue on the change journey, making to achieve the goal. The fourth, and that's the second last one I'm going to mention, is one of the most mentioned ones in the group, in the Accountable Mindset group, which states why people are not able to achieve the number one goal, and very controversial one as well. And I tell you in a moment why. So it's the lack of time. So the lack of time, I'm sure, you've been in a situation where you thought, oh, if only I had more time, I could do this. And if I had more time, I would do something different. The reality is that everyone in the world has the same amount of time, 24 hours per day. And yet, when we look at some people, they seem to convert their time so much better, so have such a better return on time invested in their life. And when you start looking as to why that is, it's very often because the goal, the objective is very, very clear. Not only that, but also what they do is they prioritize every single thing they do in line with what they are looking to achieve. So the goal or the plan, the activity that's getting them a step closer to that goal. So that, of course, means very often saying no to alternative options, saying no to temptation, saying no to friends, family, or, the short term. I was talking about the short term gratification. That's very, very tempting. And this is actually one of the biggest challenges people face, and very often also don't succeed, and I'll be honest, is knowing exactly what the goal is, what they want to achieve, and then saying no to everything that doesn't help them to get there, or at least 80%. So this is really something that I speak to with clients as well. When they mention lack of time, my question is always, write down everything that you've done today that actually you should not be doing based on what you committed to achieving. And then it turns out that time is not the issue at all. It's really the choices and the priorities that people have lined up on the day and have pursued on the day. And very often it's actually social media that people mention, because it can be it can really draw you in very quickly, and it's easy to lose yourself in social media, especially if you need it, for example, to promote the business. So being very clear how much time you spend and where the boundaries are for the time allocation is going to help as well. The last one, the fifth one, the fifth obstacle that people face when they get sidetracked from what they want to achieve or don't start it in the first place is a lack of being consistent with the actions they take, in combination with unrealistic expectations. So when we set a goal, very often we have an ambition, we have a vision, which is amazing. However, what happens, and what studies have proven and shown this recurrently, is that human beings tend to underestimate how much they can achieve in the long term, but hugely overestimate what they can achieve in the short term. So basically, we think that we're going to achieve that incredible fitness goal in a week, maybe a month. And if it doesn't happen, then we lose interest, we lose motivation, and then stop. What we should be thinking about, that actually fitness is a longer term goal, and start setting goals over a longer period of time, especially the more ambitious ones, 3 months, 6 months, longer term, whole lifestyle change. And this is really something which can be quite challenging, because we want things to happen quickly. Most of us are quite impatient. However, the consistent smaller action over time, actions building on each other, are going to deliver a much better, much bigger result in the longer term. So what I always compare it to is the compound actions could be looked at as compound interest. So while it can start small, over time you can build up to a really big result, assuming that you are being consistent with your actions, the activities you're taking, and remain on track with whatever you do, remain on track towards the goal. So everything you do is relevant to what you're looking to achieve. And this is the fifth and last obstacle I wanted to mention, as it is these five challenges, obstacles are the recurrent ones that really keep coming up when people talk about why they haven't managed to achieve the goals, why they've been sidetracked or have given up on achieving that amazing goal. So again, with the new year coming up, many people setting out to really achieve an ambition, achieve a goal. These 5 reasons might be the ones stopping you out. And what I'm asking you to think about is really from your past experience, knowing yourself as you do, which of the 5 most common obstacles do you think has stopped you in the past from achieving your objective, your goal, what you were aiming for? Was it fear? Was it procrastination? Was it laziness? Was it lack of time? or was it being inconsistent and unrealistic in your expectations? So do think about this, and the next time you're setting a goal, try to really think about how to address that challenge you faced in the past. I mentioned quite a few strategies and ways of doing that. So think about how this could help you in achieving your goal or your goals in the future, and how you can benefit from really understanding a bit more about how the brain works and how we really deal with challenges that we find recurrently in our life on our way. So with this, if you have any questions, anything at all you want to talk to me about today's topic or the accountable mindset, accountability, business or mindset at all, you can always reach me on joanna@theaccountable-mindset.com, or also via the Accountable Mindset Facebook group. It's a very big community now. We're almost 1,000 members, and I'm very proud about the support I'm able to give to the members, and also how the members support each other. So thank you very, very much for being here. This live actually is the last live for the moment. So I wanted to thank you very much for being here, for joining in, and also some of the comments. I really appreciate them. And I hope I will see you very, very soon. Take care. Bye-bye.